cat in the box for you. Can be a little exorbitant. Oh, the baby has found the twine in a can. This is not for babies. This is for the trellis meter. Hey, even in low numbers, you don't want anything that's like 100, 1, 0, because you want this one as a destructor. Little girl, this is for the garden along the top of them so that the cannabis plants grow up into them. Little girl, you're not attacking. No, you cannot attack the fertilizer. We're gonna have to pack this up. This little one's about to attack Tiny. Maybe get his dad. Continue to hydrate just to get them to, no, baby girl. This little girl is a destructor. You're so curious, but then she just wants to tear things apart. I believe I have a standing discount with this company. I'm not positive, but I think I have a 10% discount code with them, as well as Alliance for Native Seedkeepers. And I'll put those both at the bottom. This girl is feisty. Why are you so feisty, missus? I love you. You can find a lot of good granules. And let me get these bags away from this cat before she starts ripping into everything. So I just opened up my birthday / Mother's Day presents for my son. And what I got this year, because we're a little bare bones, is just what we absolutely need for the garden. Where we have a lot of seeds. We got a few bags of compost cheaply at our grocery outlet, and hoping to get a few more bags of compost from them. And I got these from Grow Organic, which has the Peaceful Valley seed line, and I'm an affiliate with them. And I just recently started a relationship with them, mostly based on these pink sunflowers right here, which I grew and absolutely loved. And every time I would post a picture, someone would, cat in the box for you, someone would say, oh my gosh, where did you get those? And eventually I was like, I shared it so many times, it's really nice that I'm now going to benefit a little bit from sharing it, but I'm happy to help a really solid company out anyway. I've had really good luck in general with this company. I have not, prior to this, purchased fertilizers and things. I had pretty good local access, and shipping can be a little tough on heavy items, even though it's actually located in California, which is great for me because that means these seeds are going to be were grown here and are going to be acclimated to my area a lot more so than ones that are grown in the Northeast or even in the South, because it's just totally different environments. And so I'm stoked about that, but still the shipping can be a little exorbitant. Oh, the baby has found the twine in a can. This is not for babies. This is for the trellis, for our Florida weave. So I thought this was really cool because it's going to protect it all in the meantime. And I also like this green string because it'll be a little less obvious on the plants. But so I got a can of twine. It's just jute twine, green jute. I got a little box of acid mix fertilizer, and this is Down to Earth. I've used this fertilizer and a few other products from Down to Earth and had really good luck, but I've never tried this BioLive, but it appealed to me because it has beneficial microbes, and it's a great transplant, and that's what I'm going to be doing a lot of. I started, hey, excuse me. I started a lot of plants just outside now while we were still trying to get the ground ready, and so I'm going to be potting it out. And what you do with these kind of fertilizers, you can just amend your whole bed, but you can also just at the time of planting put a few tablespoons down into each hole and water in really well. So this is a granular fertilizer that's going to do a slow release, and it has a whole bunch of, what I also liked is it's a bunch of natural ingredients. So fish bone meal, fish meal, alfalfa, crab, shrimp. I'm not gonna try it. Langbeinite, and kelp meal, and it's a pretty good mix. I usually like to get something that's not super high in nitrogen. Those are the numbers on the front, the N, P, and K. They all support different things. Nitrogen primarily is for leaf growth, and these two are with root and fruiting. I don't know, one more than the other, but I'm not positive. I'll at some point expand upon my knowledge of that. But you want pretty, even in low numbers, you don't want anything that's like 100, 1, 0, because your plant needs all the nutrients even throughout its lifespan, whether it's putting on leafy greens or it's going into flowering. It all helps build the benefits of the soil, and these microbes help uptake, help your soil life biome, and really can build up our kind of previously dead soil that somehow miraculously has given us plentiful garden health thus far. And I don't know how, but I intend to try and give back to it so that we don't use that little life that's in that dry looking soil up. I did get a bottle of liquid, and this was just because they didn't have any larger bottles of like kelp or the stuff that I would normally go to, but this has a good kind of mix of all the things that it's made from. So I read some good reviews on that. Excuse me, little girl. I got worm castings, which are vitally important. Again, have bioavailable minerals, nutrient dense, and microbe rich. So these are actually worm poo. You pay a premium for worm poo. Someday I'd like to keep our own worms and create our own worm poo, but for right now, you're going to put a little of this in each hole as well, or you can also side dress. You can side dress with any of these and water in. So what I typically do with the granular and with things like worm castings and compost is I'll have some in the planting hole at the time of planting. And this one is a destructor. Little girl, this is for the garden, not for your amusements. And then I will, at least once, maybe twice during the season, I will side dress all around the plant itself, all around the stem and the area where I think the root ball would likely be, and then water that in really well so that that seeps down into the soil, into the roots, and the plant can once again have a little boost of that. But the majority of time I'm watering with a liquid, maybe every other week, every third week sometimes, and things tend to do pretty well. So nosy. But worm castings are amazing. They're very low levels of the nutrients. Usually I think a lot of them say 1-1-1. So on the NPK, they're really suitable for new plant starts. They're not going to burn anything. They're just giving you all the really rich biome that worms would leave if you had a really flourishing wormy patch of soil, which again, we're not quite there with the dryness. We probably have some deep down, but not a lot of life in our soil at this juncture. And then lastly, I got a trellis, and this is for our cannabis plants. These have large loops. Normally it would be something like your peas would climb up, or a climbing vegetable, as you see in that picture. But what I'm going to do is place T-posts and prop this up along the top of them so that the cannabis plants grow up into them, and then therefore the structure of the squares holds on to the branches of the cannabis, so it grows up through it. And I've seen people use that technique. It's really windy here. We did have one branch succumb to a windy day, and that was pretty awful. So we are growing a lot more this year, and we intend to not repeat that breaking branch. So we're gonna grow most of our cannabis in one large area. Little girl, you're not attacking. No, you cannot attack the fertilizer. We're gonna have to pack this up. But let me tell you really quickly about these seeds. So this Casper pumpkin I have not grown. I've been wanting to grow a white pumpkin though. There is a Valencia, I believe, from Alliance of Native Seedkeepers, who I'm also affiliated with and have had really beautiful luck with and really support their mission. They're native owned, and so I'm really happy to be partnered with them and recommend their really great deals on seeds. And Grow Organic also has really solid deals. They have locally grown seeds that they carry their own line, and then they have San Diego Seed Company. There's one that was like a high desert even one, and I think most of those seeds were sold out, but next year I'm really going to make an attempt to buy some seeds that are really suited for my area, because I'm fighting the elements here with the super bright sun and the arid, very rare rain and the soil that's dried up. We're going to do a method of planting this year for our summer squash bed, and then we're going to do a Three Sisters garden. So we're going to do a flint corn, melons, and squash as the third sister, and as the second sister, we're going to do dried beans. And we're going to do those all in a Zuni waffle garden bed, which I'll show you pictures of. I'll put one in here, and I'll put a little picture of how ours is coming along. And they're just ways that help arid climates collect all the soil to the plants where the plants are growing in this hole. And it keeps the wind from drying them out, blowing across them and knocking them over really readily. There's a rather little cute cat that I didn't get. And I think the Three Sisters is going to be really acclimated for that too. At the Zuni waffle garden. This little one's about to attack Tiny. Maybe get his stat, we'll see. The Zuni waffle garden works in conjunction really well with Three Sisters, and so hopefully, because a lot of natives from their plains, and I think I said last time Anasazi, which was, they're kind of interconnected to the Zuni people. They're all kind of New Mexico, that part of the country, where it's really arid and dry and very similar climate to here, where we're in the high desert. We have cold winters, really hot summers, very little shade in our garden area at least, and so we're fighting very different things than we did when we were in Monterey, so we're adjusting accordingly. And we don't have a ton of money to really amend every single bed, so we're doing kind of as we plant out. And again, we had really great luck with that last year with minimal amendments, so we're hoping that we haven't depleted too much of the soil, and we're going to just keep adding back to it. We're doing a no dig method from here. We did dig in some of the initial beds just to get them, because they were so hydrophobic. We had to triple dig and continue to hydrate just to get them to, just to get them to take any water on. And now they've already just richened up so much. This little girl is a destructor. She's so curious, but then she just wants to tear things apart. Huh? You want to tear the world up? Get in that little box instead. But anyway, so these pumpkins, Alliance of Native Seedkeepers has a Valencia pumpkin that I really liked the look of, and it was not available at the time that I bought seeds, and so I ended up searching for another one and found these Casper ones, so I'm excited to have a white pumpkin. I love these Peaceful Valley seeds. They have a lot of really useful information, and I like the drawings on the front. But the star of the show, and I'll put several pictures of these. These were the most beautiful sunflower I've ever grown. A lot of times you will see those hot pink ones and navy blue or turquoise, bright turquoise sunflower seeds advertised now, and they sell them pretty frequently on Etsy and on Amazon, and see them posted all the time in garden groups, and see people who've purchased them and said, no, don't bother, they're just all yellow, which, yeah, there's no such thing as those hot pink at this point in time anyway, or really blue sunflowers. These are by far the closest thing I've ever seen, and all the pictures that I've looked at in the forums where people posted about them, I think this is the closest that you're gonna get to a real true pink sunflower. They were so beautiful, really prolific in my Monterey garden, so I'm super excited to have them back here. We also have some strawberry blonde, which is another really gorgeous, that's kind of more pink and yellow, and this is more pink and white. So again, I'll post some more pictures, but I'm really excited to do just a whole big row of just those because they're just stunning. And I want to grow a lot more sunflowers this year. They do super well in this climate, and one tactic we're going to try and use is to create our own shade. So last year we had really large sunflowers, we had really large amaranth, red amaranth, that grew probably 6 foot plus tall, definitely taller than me, and did super well in the sun. We're not bothered by the sun at all, didn't require a ton of nutrients, and then provided a small amount of shade to our garden. So we're going to try and be a little more intentional with that this year, and we're going to plant it all along the perimeters of our garden in order to provide a little bit of shade. And as long as things can get some amount of shade during the worst part of the heat and get a little reprieve, they do so much better. I have a couple little shorts videos about how big of a difference there was with trellises that had afternoon shade and ones that got no shade, and as well as tomato plants. We had a row of tomato plants, and the ones that got some afternoon shade thrived, and the ones that didn't were stunted, tiny little things. So I'll put a link to that in the comments if you want to check that out. Just the stark difference. So if you live in somewhere arid and really sunny, like a big important thing is to provide some shade. So this year we're going to look into some different shade solutions as well. I'm going to try and get a hold of more T-posts and sturdy posts that we can just attach shade cloth to and try and find economic ways. But we're definitely also just going to try and use nature to help us, because I think that's the best thing you can possibly do is work with it, not against it, and not add a bunch of stuff or buy a bunch of stuff, or have things that are breaking down in the sun. We had a big pop-up sunjade that just didn't even survive one season because it's just so hot and the sun is just relentless out there, so it just breaks down fabrics and plastics and all kinds of things. So you can get plants that are thriving in that environment to work as your shade and look beautiful at the same time. I think that's ideal. So anyway, I just thought I would show you guys my Mother's Day and birthday presents. Tomorrow's my birthday, and my sunshine said that he would buy me some garden stuff, and so that's all I really wanted, and that's what I got. And again, just the basics this year. Like someday I'm gonna be back to nursing and wellness and have fun money to throw around in the garden. Right now we have blood, sweat, and tears and the basics, and that's all you really need. Gardening doesn't have to be a huge, it's a bank breaker, but you can find ways to make it as economical and work for you as well as possible. So you just need a basic good granular fertilizer, worm castings, a good liquid fertilizer, ways to trellis and keep your plants sturdy and safe, and seeds, which you can get at the dollar store, and they're just as good as other seeds. But I do have discounts on seeds with, I believe I have a standing discount with this company. I'm not positive, but I think I have a 10% discount code with them, as well as Alliance for Native Seedkeepers. And I'll put those both at the bottom. This girl is feisty. Why are you so feisty, missus? I love you. They almost always are here for me for videos when I film inside, because they are so nosy and they can't help themselves, huh? So I'll let you know how these products go throughout the year too. I think that you can find a lot of good granular mixes, and fish and kelp meal works amazing, as well as some of the more expensive brands. So if you ever need any kind of recommendations for what you're working with, I would say definitely avoid Miracle-Gro products. They are filled with sodium and kill the biome of your soil and make your plants really dependent on their nutrients, because they kill off all the natural things that would be in your soil, which is terrible for the earth, terrible for your plants, terrible for you and your soil. And Miracle-Gro is also affiliated with Monsanto. A lot of people will argue that. The way in which they are is that they're all Dow and Bayer related. They've worked really hard to try and break those ties to Roundup and Monsanto. But they are very much affiliated, and they all benefit each other. They're all practicing really unsustainable farming methods, pushing products that are killing off our soils, not regenerating it, and we only have about 60 years at the rate that we are damaging our soil with the practices that we're using. So whatever you can do to try and help that, try and do. One of the things that I'm able to do with my lot in life right now is not purchase Miracle-Gro and products like that, and to purchase sustainable products that come in boxes you can compost, like just to do the best I can, and that's within my means at this point. Whatever, I'm not gonna always try and be super ecologically friendly if I can't afford to do so. So I definitely think you try and do the best you can in those areas, but if it's between Miracle-Gro and Dollar Tree seeds and you get to have a garden, do it. But if you can avoid Miracle-Gro, there's better products out there for cheaper. So Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Let me know what fertilizers you like and what you're planning to use this year in your garden. And wish me luck on my brand new growing season. And let me get these bags away from this cat before she starts ripping into everything. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Like and subscribe.